It's already week 5 of the NFL season, and usually around this time we have a pretty good idea of which players are the real deal, which players are not. But because of inconsistencies and just enough injuries and suspensions, we kind of have no clue. But don't take that as a negative. If you're 1-3 or you're 0-4, there's still room to improve. If you're undefeated, things can change real fast. We have a lot of players coming back from injuries, and the landscape will change. So stay tuned. We'll keep streaming. We'll keep at it. Here are my waiver wire pickups for week 5 of fantasy football. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching the couch. There are 2 teams on bye this week. The Detroit Lions and the Miami Dolphins are on bye for week 5. We have Jameis Winston for the number 1 quarterback waiver wire claim this week. And we have a couple surprises at number 1 for more than one position. Jameis Winston, man, off to a slow start. We see him putting up 7 fantasy points week 1, then around 13 fantasy points, and now he's climbing into the 20s. And if this trend continues, he'll be putting up around 100 fantasy points in the fantasy football playoffs. Okay, but in all seriousness, he absolutely shocked every one of us. Week 4, going against the Rams, Mike Evans balled out. Chris Godwin, aka the fantasy win god, absolutely balled out. And Jameis Winston has been playing well. This Bucs defense, look, the secondary is not that good at all, but the Bucs defense has been playing well. I like Sue and Vita in the middle right there for the D-line. And man, the Bucs could win this division. They got a shot for sure. Now, Jameis Winston, obviously, we can't trust him all the time, but with Bruce Arians, he's definitely worth an add. I see him more as a high-end QB2 just because of the trust factor. Like, you can definitely start him if the matchups are right. And going against the Saints, the matchup is about average. It's not a good one. It's not really a bad one. I just wanted to take a quick moment and thank our sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. You can go there and play daily fantasy prop games. They're super easy, simple, fun to play. My 2 favorite contests are the touchdown dance and the over-under. And here's one where I found a pretty big discrepancy between my projections and what the over-under is on MKF. And that's this game here. Kirk Cousins going against Daniel Jones, Vikings at Giants. And I think both quarterbacks will throw around 245 passing yards. So right here, we can play in this contest, and whatever entry fee we decide to choose, we'll get 3x if we get both right. You have to get both right. And I'm going under on Kirk Cousins, so I think he'll throw about 20 yards less. And I'm going over on Danny Dimes. I think he'll throw about 30 pass yards more. And then we'll submit that. I'm going hard on this one. Let's do $20 buy-in. Let's do that, and we're good to go. So guys, head on over to monkeyknifefight.com, or better yet, just follow the link below in the description. You can get a 100% deposit match if you use promo code COUCH up to $50. Again, head on over to MKF and use promo code COUCH. It also really helps support this channel. Back to the waivers. I think Jacoby Brissett is an absolute baller, but T.Y. Hilton has to be back. Without T.Y. Hilton, he's just an average quarterback. And if T.Y. Hilton is 100% or close to 100% going against the Chiefs, they'll need to throw the ball a lot. And I like this to be a sneaky shootout. Well, not so sneaky, I guess, if they're the Chiefs. Sam Darnold, definitely had to mention this. He is questionable. If I had to guess, will he be back week 5 or not? I would say yes. Right now, he is cleared for non-contact drills, so keep that in mind. He does have mono and is recovering. If he's not back week 5, he'll be back week 6 at the latest. Baker Mayfield, we hate him. We don't hate him that much. So we're still not on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon just yet. He still hasn't gained our trust. But nonetheless, man, the quarterback position is a little bit weird with all these injuries. Big Ben out, Drew Brees out. There's so many players missing, and we got a couple more this week with Chase Daniels starting instead of Trubisky, who's injured, and Josh Allen in concussion protocol. So a lot's happening. You could do a lot worse than Baker Mayfield, at least as a bench stash. We have Jimmy Garoppolo, not really a great matchup right here. So Andy Dalton, this is my cutoff right here, is around Andy Dalton, who could easily easily be the number one pickup, but I don't know about John Ross. Is he healthy? I think Tyler Boyd is healthy, but John Ross did exit the game. This is a sweet matchup. It's going to be a sweet matchup for just about every Bengal player. They can't really stop the running back position. They sure as heck cannot stop the pass. And Patrick Peterson, I just had to look it up to be sure. He is still out. He is suspended 6 games. Then in deeper leagues, we have Gardner Minshew, Kirk Cousins, who's been enormously disappointing this year, but has a great matchup. Can he do anything? Like, if you just look at Thielen's fantasy points, you're like, okay, he had a bad week, but really Thielen has been purely touchdown dependent. Diggs and Thielen really has done nothing this year. Thielen got into the end zone a few times, and that really saved his fantasy owners, but other than that, man, Kirk Cousins has been absolutely horrendous. This could be a good bounce back game for him going against the Giants. Bad defense, bad secondary. Teddy Bridgewater going against the Bucks. The Bucks have a bad secondary. Chase Daniels in the London game. I don't like to get hyped up or say anything good when players get injured. I am a Trubisky fan, but I'm just relaying the message that a lot of Bears fans are actually happy that Trubisky is hurt, and Chase Daniels didn't look so bad. Now, I'm not condoning that. I never celebrate a player getting injured, but I'm saying Bears fans, many have told me, and it's on Twitter and everything, there's even memes, that they are happy that Chase Daniels is in and not Trubisky. Now we're in super deep leagues, like basically dual quarterback leagues at this point. Kyle Allen going against the Jags. And keep tabs on Josh Allen as he is in concussion protocol. Hey guys, really quick, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon. We do ranked waiver wire videos every Tuesday and upload a video dang near every day and lots of crazy live streams. So guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, join the notification gang. Running back pickups. Ronald Jones at number 1. This is the second spread. 2 Buccaneers. Oh my God. So Ronald Jones has outsnapped, outtouched, outperformed Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber is still relevant, but Ronald Jones is clearly the better running back here. And Bruce Arians might be turning this franchise around, guys. The running backs are relevant. Wide receivers are relevant. Jameis Winston's putting up big numbers, possibly throwing less picks. We'll see. It's only been 4 games. And of course, what Bruce Arians does makes the tight end irrelevant. I don't know if it's really Bruce Arians' fault. I don't think it is. Jordan Howard came out of nowhere and absolutely balled out. 3 touchdowns week 4 against the Packers. And he's a top 2 pickup. Tevin Coleman, this one's a little bit different, because it is a messy situation on the 49ers. We don't know what's going to happen. Jeff Wilson, goal line back, rookie running back, been decent. Mostert's involved. Breida's definitely going to be involved. And then there's Tevin Coleman. Now, if I had to guess, and I really do believe this, but I do want to kind of tell you both ways. Like, I do think this is going to happen, but it might not, because there's so many running backs in that backfield. I think Tevin Coleman will be the number 1 running back. He'll put up the most fantasy points. I think he earns Kyle Shanahan's trust the most out of all those running backs. He went and got him, and especially with Mostert and Breida fumbling a lot, I think Tevin Coleman's going to regain that role, especially if he's at 100%. Niners did have a bye week, so he had plenty of time to heal. If I had to guess, I'd guess Tevin Coleman will be back this week. If not, the latest should be week 6. Darrell Williams makes for another week of being a great 1-week rental if Damian Williams is out. Now, if Damian Williams with that knee injury, if he's at 100% and he's healthy, I think Darrell Williams goes back to being irrelevant, assuming that LaShawn McCoy plays. And keep tabs on Devin Singletary, and that makes Frank Gore a good pickup, especially in non-PPR leagues. Jalen Samuels looking good. Not to be trusted really, but I think he's worth an add if you're struggling at running back. Not one that I'd want to start this week against the Ravens or anything. And also a side note, James Conner is getting checked out for his ankle. I don't think there's anything wrong with him, but that is an issue to at least monitor right there. We have Rashad Penny backing up Mr. Fumbleitis, Chris Carson. Nyheim Hines is in play if Marlon Mack is hurt. Now, the coach said said that Marlon Mack wasn't hurt and Nyheim Hines was just in the turbo package or hurry up package, whatever you want to call it. And against the Chiefs, this might happen again, even if Marlon Mack is not hurt. Nyheim Hines, a good add in PPR leagues. Ito Smith, there's really only 2 running backs on the Falcons. We thought Brian Hill might get some touches, Quadri Allison, but that's not the case. Ito Smith is the clear-cut number 2 running back on the Falcons. Falcons not a good running team or anything like that, and Devontae Freeman is more of a 66% type of guy, and Ito Smith getting around 33% of the snaps and touches. That's what I see going forward. Still, I guess it could be worse. There's not a lot of great pickups. What could I say? There really isn't. Darius Geis, if you guys have an IR spot worth an ad in your league, if not, hey, you got to win now. Even if you're 4-0, try to win now, guys. Just because you're 4-0 doesn't mean you're going to win the fantasy Super Bowl. Don't get cocky. Don't get overconfident. And then we have a slew of handcuffs such as Tony Pollard, Malcolm Brown, Jordan Wilkins, Chase Edmonds, and Rock Armstead. Wide receivers, Golden Tate officially been activated, officially on the roster, and will play week 5. Definitely worth an ad. So there are actually a few really good wide receivers, and it's really these top 4 right here. So Golden Tate, love him in PPR leagues. He has been on around 3 teams, I think, the past year, and that's never a good sign, but let's see what he can do. And Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. Jamison Crowder, absolute PPR beast. Darnold should be coming back soon. And who is this guy? Is this guy the number 1 wide receiver for the Steelers? I don't know. If you don't see the names on the back of the jerseys, you might be mistaken. I think Dante Johnson is actually the number 1 wide receiver on the Steelers. We'll see what happens. The Steelers made a good move by benching or deactivating Dante Moncrief, who's just an NFL bust, really, and activating Dante Johnson. He's a starter. He's good. He's been doing it 2 weeks in a row. And I was really debating on cutting him from my dynasty team, but thankfully I kept him. I don't even remember the player I cut. He was not good. And so I'm glad to have him. I have him on my practice squad, my taxi squad, and I think I'm going to promote him, man. Glad I kept him in Dynasty. Then we have Geronimo Allison, a really good rental, assuming Devontae Adams is out with that toe injury. If I had to guess, I would guess that Devontae Adams will miss week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Cole Beasley, excellent add in PPR leagues. Deebo Samuel is my guess to be the number 1 wide receiver on the Niners, but the Niners do things a little bit different. Kyle Shanahan thinks a little differently. Just want to put that out there. Why isn't Deebo Samuel higher? Because, hey, he's going to have a few really big games, and then he's going to have a few games where he does nothing. Tight end is going to be used. Kittle, running backs are going to be used a lot, and Niners offense might not click every single game. And that's why I'm giving a fair warning for Deebo Samuel. Not that I don't like him. He's an amazing talent, and he will play well. Just not a guy I want to trust and start every week. Then we have Mohamed Sanu. Falcons are back to their old Then we have Mohamed Sanu. Falcons are back to their old tricks. Throwing the ball, getting some yards through the air, not winning many games, not getting a lot of touchdowns. And Mohamed Sanu and PPR, I guess you can do worse. Philip Dorsett, actually, we can rank him much higher because I don't have faith in him as a consistent wide receiver or even as a long-term wide receiver, but he will be good and has 2 excellent matchups. Week 5 going against Washington, week 6 going against the Giants. We have AJ Brown, who I'd have as a top 5 ranked wide receiver on these waiver rankings. If I could trust Marcus Mariota more, obviously we can't trust him. Kiki QT, almost worthless, basically irrelevant in fantasy at this point, unless Kenny Stills is out week 5 and he was injured and exited that game. Falcons, excellent matchup for Kiki if Stills is out. Then we have a Randall Cobb if Mike Gallup is hurt. My guess is he won't play week 5 and he will play week 6. Purely a guess though, purely speculation. And we have Auden Tate going against the Cardinals if Ross is out or if Boyd is out. Corey Davis, Antonio Callaway, who'll be coming back for the Browns. And then we have a couple wide receivers on a team that's tanking and on bye with Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. And then we have a Jalen Hurd, who I'm very excited about, but will likely not get a ton of snaps and a ton of targets and a ton of touches. Still very excited to see him play, and that's why he's ranked absolute last. If you're in a 10-team league, you shouldn't be adding Jalen Hurd. Add players that are going to help you win now or in the near future. Tight end, a bit messy this year. Chris Herndon, I've been screaming to pick him up the last couple weeks. Jimmy Graham is back. He's doing things with Aaron Rodgers, and with Devontae Adams out, could see an uptick in targets. Tyler Eifert has an amazing matchup going against the Cardinals. No other team has allowed more fantasy points to the tight end position, and Tyler Eifert is still getting his targets. He's still heavily involved in that pass game. And if you've seen the Bengals, they probably do need to throw the ball. Also, their offensive line is absolute garbage, but against the Cardinals, offensive line might look around average. Hunter Henry, worth an add if people are dropping him. He'll be back in a couple weeks, hopefully. Jack Doyle versus Eric Ebron. Did you know that Doyle's getting more targets? And I'm not even going to say Doyle is better than Ebron or anything like that. Just know that it's very, very close, almost a 50-50, but Ebron's owned in like 70-80% of leagues, and Doyle's owned in like 20% of leagues, so it should be closer than that. And going against the Chiefs, especially if Hilton is out again, Brissett will air it out, and Doyle and Ebron should both get a lot of targets. Then we have the rookie, Dawson Knox, Ben Watson coming back from suspension. I do believe he will get utilized because they haven't really utilized the tight end position at all. Ben Watson has some trust from Brady, at least I think so, has some familiarity with him. I just didn't want to rank, 37 years old right now. I didn't want to rank him too high. Temper expectations. No one's really starting Ben Watson this week unless you're in a deep league or you're super desperate, like if you're starting Mike Gesicki or something like that and he's on bye. But definitely worth an add if you're struggling. And I did draft OJ Howard 1 or 2 times, so I might have to add Ben Watson. I definitely added Chris Herndon, though, already. Then we have a Noah Fant, Jason Witten, Dallas Goedert, Ricky Seals-Jones of the Browns with Njoku still on IR, and Blake Jarwin of the Dallas Cowboys if you're in a super deep league. Defenses are a bit messy, but still, it's not so big of a difference between these defenses. I'm not talking about my list in general, just talking about defenses for week 5. So you'll be fine if you can just add one that's half decent and just cross your fingers and hope they do well, because it is a bit of a crapshoot at defense, a bit of a crapshoot at tight end, a bit of a crapshoot at kicker, and that's how it is every year just about. Now the Eagles D gets a huge boost if Darnold is out. Now if Darnold is in, the Eagles become an average defense, an opportunistic defense, but not one that I'm really trusting. Still, the Eagles are heavily favorited to win this game. Definitely keep tabs on Sam Darnold. Now, when you put in your claim, we likely won't know if Darnold's going to play or not, but that's how much upside the Eagles D does have this week. They are worth an add. You might have to roster 2 defenses or roster the Eagles and drop them, whatever you got to do. They're still not ranked number 1 on my list, so still worth an add if you need a defense. Then we have the Titans going against the Bills. Could be a low-scoring game. Titans' defense is very talented, very good, and if Josh Allen is out, they should hold the Bills to very few points, especially if Devin Singletary is out as well. Also a good kind of long-term add because they play Denver the following week, and we know Denver's offense is absolute trash with Flacco at the helm. Bills D, again, very talented, very good defense going against the Titans. And then keep in mind they're a good long-term add because they do play the Dolphins 2 times. They play Dolphins week 7 and 11. Then we have Washington defense. So I'm ranking number 4. Because they're the absolute worst defense this week. I rank them number 30 in projected fantasy points going against the Patriots. Washington's an absolute mess. They don't even know what's going on with that franchise, with that team. But keep in mind, They do play the Dolphins week 6. This could be the game the Dolphins win, coming off a bye week 6. But still, if you're in a deep league, Washington defense is readily available in most of those leagues, and you could do a lot worse. Just wanted to throw that out there. 49ers D don't like the matchup necessarily, but they can win this game, and they're a really good defense. If they can get that secondary playing well like they have the first couple weeks, man, sky's the limit with this defense. This one's not really a streaming defense. This one's just a good defense to have. Not one I'm trusting this week, but let's see how they do. This will be a good test going against the Browns. Should be a good, close game, by the way, Niners-Browns. Then we have the Texans D, very extreme, going against the Falcons. So the Falcons probably put up a ton of yards, but let's see if they can score touchdowns. Let's see if they can not turn the ball over. I don't know. I really don't know how the Texans D is going to do. They can score a lot of points, and I wouldn't be surprised if they scored like 0 or 2 points. Buccaneers defense going against the Saints. These are really just flyers right now, like none that you really want to trust. I actually don't know. This is the most risky one. I probably should rank them lower. But you do have Drew Brees out and a good run defense. So if you can somehow contain Michael Thomas, don't let Ted Ginn get a big touchdown against you. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't push the ball down the field anyway at all. So you can contain Mike Thomas and Kamara, good things can happen. We've seen them make plays against the Rams, so they didn't do too, even though that was a shootout, Bucs D still did okay. Ndamukong Suh scored a touchdown. Then we have the Browns D, Cowboys D, assuming Devontae Adams doesn't play, Cowboys D gets a boost, so you can rank them all the way up to number 7, maybe 6 or 5 even. Temper expectations though, but just letting you know, Devontae Adams is out. That really hurts the upside of the Packers offense. Steelers D, they're playing pretty good. Minkah Fitzpatrick's helping them out. Like, they were always okay up front, the front 7. TJ Watt's pretty good. Side note, week 8, they do face the Miami Dolphins. Chiefs D going against the Colts, not one that I like, but if Marlon Mack is actually hurt, that's good for them. If T.Y. Hilton is out, that's a big boost for the Chiefs defense. And in super deep leagues, we have the Giants going against the poo-poo Kirk Cousins, and Raiders D going against the Bears. Bears offense hasn't really done much other than Taylor Gabriel getting those 3 touchdowns against Josh Norman and Washington secondary. Lots of kickers this week, because that's exactly what you need, right? We have Jake Elliott going against the Jets. That's going to be really good if Darnold is out. Eagles should move the ball easily, play a lot of defense, hit a lot of extra points, settle for field goals in the second half, so on and so forth. And then it's a bit tough after that. We have Brett Maher, Kaimi Fairbairn, Will Lutz, Joey Sly, who I'm starting to give a little bit more respect to, but still, as you guys would call it, I'm still disrespecting him according to your guys' opinions. He is good. I'll give him that. Jason Myers going against the Rams. Zane Gonzalez, Mason Crosby, Josh Lambo, Matt Bryant, Eddie Pinheiro, Dan Bailey, Cairo Santos, Randy Bullock. And this one we did want to talk about for 4.5 seconds. Tylon Michael Badgley. Excellent matchup right here, but Tylon isn't the best kicker. He's actually a punter. And I don't even know in Yahoo if you can add that guy. They need to change that because he's a punter. You can't pick up a punter. They need to give him that dual position eligibility. And Michael Badgley, man, when you coming back, bro? I would have picked you up last week. I actually did. But you didn't play with that groin injury. So both have a great matchup against the Broncos. Something to monitor, and you can probably get Badgley off free agency. Make sure you do visit monkeyknifefight.com. Just follow the link below in the description. You get a 100% deposit match up to $50 when you use promo code COUCH. It really helps support the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Just hit that couch icon right there. We also have a second YouTube channel. Subscribe to that as well. Fantasy Couch Podcast. Lots of amazing live streams on that channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if you did not, and I'll catch you on the next video / live stream.